Hello, internet. So yeah, um, top five games, 2017. Putting this video up very late. I've been playing Monster Hunter pretty heavily the last 2 weeks, so I could have found time to do it. I just wanted to play Monster Hunter, and that's all I've been doing for the last like 2 weeks. So, and as you can see on the channel, I've been streaming it a lot every day. It's a good game. I'm kind of in love with it. I'll probably make a video about it tomorrow. But yeah, um, so yeah, let's just basically every year I'll do like the top five games that I played the last year of like these are the five games I enjoyed the most. And there's no order. It's not like one to five. They're all pretty like equally awesome. But there's usually like one that's like the top of the list where it's like, yeah, this is pretty, yeah. And I'll throw in a couple honorable mentions and then be like, oh yeah, these were good and they didn't make the list, or they're just too many games or whatever. Last year there were a lot of good games, so it's like something had to get cut. Someone has to lose. Everybody doesn't win all the time, so it's one of those. So yeah. Also, I just woke up, so excuse the whole raspy voice of I just woke upness. Whatever. Let's get into it. So we've got Gravity Rush 2. That game was amazing. It was over 9,000. It was a great continuation from the first game and just into, new territory with the characters and like great scenes and experiences to go through and play through and new powers and new abilities. It was great. It was a fun time. And then like the art style, it's cel shaded, so it looks great. And it's like, not too many of those around these days, sadly. And that was, yeah, like the way the art style was and the way the action was in the game and like the way your powers worked and the whole gravity shifting and all the mechanics that they added or brought back, or everything was refined. It was a very refined sequel. Like everything from the first game that they brought back, or just like playing. I played it after the first one, and then just like to play after the first one, it seems like they just went through and like everything was just better and better and better, just upgraded or more refined than it was in the previous game, and it's just that much better of an experience because of it. It was an amazing game. Um, but yeah, that was a great game. If you haven't played it, check it out. And yeah, it was very good soundtrack, story. I didn't play the Raven DLC. I'll go back and like stream that eventually. But that's the other thing is like there's a ton of game there. Like I played it and it just like kept going. I was like, man, it didn't leave me unsatisfied on like the length and the content in the game. I was like, wow, that was very good job. Uh, yeah. And then next game we've got Nier Automata. That was, oh man, Nier Automata. This game, I gotta say, it's like very few games make you want to play through it more than once. And this game has like three protagonists, and each time you play through the game, stuff goes down, and it's just like wow, it just like drives you in more, and it's just like you want to play more and like learn more, and it's just a very absorbing experience. I was just like, man, I was just so immersed in the game. It just, I mean, there are like some like small minor issues, like after you played like the first, I'd say like the playthrough of each character, the game doesn't really overstay its welcome. It does a lot of things to mix it up and keep things fresh and not repetitive. Like there's like a 2D shooter action like Ikarika style. There's that sweet platinum combat that's like they helped develop it, and like that's really awesome. And then there's sections where like a bunch of side quests where you do. I mean, some of the side quests are just like fetch quests, but then there's also stuff where it's just a bunch of weird, esoteric, like questioning the nature of humanity or existence stuff. It's just really interesting. And a bunch of NPCs. Oh, and then it's like really cool they do sometimes. If you've ever played Lost Odyssey, there's moments where they'll do like a story time section, and it's like a little book or like you're actually reading it, and text text crawls, and there's some minor effects that going on, and also the music's really good, so it just like drives you in even more with that. Like when you get to the carnival or castle stage, I don't know what it's called off the top of my head. I haven't played in a while. Like, yeah, I'm pretty late making this video. I think I already said that, but a lot of the like minor details I might have forgot about these games, but like the major stuff does stick out still. Like Nier, man, just the character design too, dude. Like 2B with like the whole blindfold and like sweet costume get up looks amazing. So does 9S. Um, yeah, like the whole aesthetic with like the androids and like the whole Nora. I mean, your Hom, your Yorha? Yeah, Yorha. I think it's Yorha. Whatever. Anyway, but that whole thing, and it's cool because it's a continuation of a series, but you don't have to play the game before it because I didn't play the first Nier and I just went jumped into this one, so like this looks cool. And yeah, it's pretty good and I enjoyed it, and you probably would too if you played it. A lot of sweet action, a lot of like different sections where they do different things. Like I said, like I mean, there's another section I'm not gonna spoil it because like they do something really cool, and it's like wow, that's pretty awesome. And oh yeah, that's the other thing is like just like I said about Greater Rush 2, it goes over 9,000. This game goes over 9,000 like multiple times. Just a lot of cool fights and bosses and action sequences, and it's just like yeah, just thoroughly enjoyed it, and it just mm, really hit the mark. And then the customization, like the JRPG elements in this game, like how you can customize your character and have all these skills and abilities, and how as you're going through the world and through the game, you get more and more and more. It's pretty good. Yeah, it doesn't hold you back. Like you just keep continuing like to grow and get more powerful, and you can just like feel it. Or just like customize your characters and make them your own, or have all these like different interesting abilities. Like you can heal over time, or like there's a self-destruct sequence thing that you can initiate, and then that where like you can not use it too. There's a lot of like cool stuff like that in there. But yeah, Nier Automata, very very good. Check it out. It's definitely one of the top games last year in my opinion. Next game up, Mass Effect Andromeda. A lot of people did not like this game. I don't care. Like, I mean, that's their opinion, man. Whatever. That's good for them. They didn't like the game. Whoop de doo. Um, to me, it's like I'm just sad because I really enjoyed it, and then there wasn't any support for the game like after it came out as far as like single player like story stuff. It was just all multiplayer DLC stuff. So it was just like that was kind of lame. I mean, and the multiplayer is I did enjoy it. It is good. I don't think I played it as much as. I mean, I would think I didn't play as much as Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, but then I think when I got the email on my stats of how much I played it last year, it actually was like a game I put a lot of time into. But I don't know. I don't know what it is, but that whole grinding for credits to get more stuff, it just doesn't appeal to me as much anymore as it used to anymore. So I don't know. Or it's just a time sink, and I don't feel like I'm getting really anything out of it. On top of like, I'd rather have more story content. And like knowing that wasn't coming, I think I just like preemptively just like stopped playing. I did do like a lot of the operations and stuff until I was like, you know what, this isn't really going anywhere. There's no like, I mean, they like had stories for each of them, but it wasn't like a very like focused like it wasn't like a cutscene or something. It was just like here's a text log, stuff happened in the system, and your Apex Force is going in to do stuff. Yippee, whatever. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of cool connective tissue from Andromeda to the Shepard trilogy, but then it's never like it never goes anywhere. And then I don't know. It's talking about Mass Effect Andromeda makes me sad, just because Bioware is making Anthem, and I'm kind of worried because that game got delayed, and I was like, if that game gets delayed, they might have a situation where they might get closed, just like was it Visceral? So yeah, like I don't know. That's the other thing, dude. Is like EA is like so notorious for just acquiring studios and then just like shutting them down, and then that's I kind of feel like that's the spot that Bioware's in, because it's like they got like a very big budget situation on like their current project, and if it doesn't do good, it's like oh no. And then I mean, there's another Dragon Age, so that's also kind of bugging me, is like the last game that they might be making is either a Dragon Age game and not like I don't know. I just really liked Mass Effect, and then to see have a new one, and everybody else hated it. Okay, not everybody else hated it, but there's a lot of haters for Mass Effect Andromeda, and it's just like dude, The game's good. Like, what more do you want? Like, what is like? And then like it's like yeah, it's like I guess I could see where people are coming from with the critiques, but it's just it seems like so trivial and fickle and just like the most like minor things and like minute things are just like oh, the animations. It's like really, are you like some Pixar master artist that like works all day like making assets and rendering things, and you're just like, oh man, let me nitpick all the things in this game. Just how the animation is just like a bit off here, and like the lips and the eyes and the blah blah. Blah. It's like really, and like when you're playing moment to moment in the action sequences on the planet, which was really awesome because it's open world on like every planet, which was really awesome. I mean, the hub worlds anyway. That well, I mean, that's a kind of like a complaint that was like it didn't seem like there's as much exploration. Like for me, when they said there's gonna be like a lot of, I mean, there was, but it wasn't in my brain what I thought when they said that of like Mass Effect One style. Because there was, it just wasn't every other planet. It was just the main hub worlds, and then like the one asteroid, and then everything else was like you just go there, scan it, and you don't really get to interact with it, which was kind of a bummer because I thought it'd be more like Mass Effect One, where it's like you could just go to like a bunch of different. I mean, sure. I mean that like to me, Mass Effect One's my favorite because you can go anywhere. I don't care if everybody if they all look the same. Just like being able to like get out on the planet and like look at it, and like oh man, and like have an adventure. Like this is a side quest here on this planet. And they're mostly the same, but it's like I don't care. It's like it made me feel like I was exploring the galaxy and doing stuff. And they're like, they're like a bunch of unique ones too. They're not all the same. Whereas like Andromeda, you're kind of just like stuck in the hub worlds. And then I mean, it's cool because as you do clear the vaults of the architects, it does change the like terraforming. So like the way the planet is when you first get there is completely different from once you've cleaned it up and made the air better, or the ice not as freezing, the ice not as freezing, or just done stuff to make the planets more habitable. And then like as the game goes on, and then you make the whole system more inhabitable, and then the Andromeda initiative is like, yay, good job, writer, go you, and stuff. It's pretty cool. I mean that being said, it was. I mean that yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed like the whole. To me, I really like this one almost more the theme. And I mean, I prefer the theme of this one versus the theme of the Shepherd trilogy because it was more. It felt more true to like what it was trying to be. When it's like as a Mass Effect game, it's like what it's more. I guess not really what it's trying to be, but like all the things that like the series draws inspiration from. It felt like it was doing all those things. Like you felt very Starfleet in that like you go to an unknown place, you find unknown aliens, you make first contact, you uh, diplomacy it out, for lack of a better term. And then there's the antagonists. I mean, the antagonist could have been better in my opinion, but it's like whatever. That was it wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was just okay. It's like okay, whatever. So like I mean, and then that's the other thing is like there's the post credit scene of like okay, are we going to find out more about these people and like where they come from and like the head honcho that the dude was reporting to? Oh, I guess not because or maybe in a book somewhere. Like yeah, like in a book or not going to be able to play it, which is lame. So yeah, but yeah, dude, like squad powers and then like the different loadouts that you could like chain together to have like multiple classes, which I never really used, but that was like a cool mechanic. Like when you see it, when you see your Alex Rider or whatever the dad's name is, Alex. He like does it at the beginning. He like just changed together a bunch of different classes. That was pretty cool. Um, but yeah, in this one you can just like have like that's their thing. Like this one you weren't limited to whatever you're. I mean, that's kind of like a plus and negative at the same time because it like kind of didn't really mean anything. Like if you like had your class set to whatever class, you get bonuses for those abilities. But then you could just change your class, and then you can just change your abilities. So I mean, in that regard, it's still an RPG where you're playing a class, but then you have more freedom. But then that choice, because it's a battle game, like it seems like that choice was like not as weighted as it was in previous games where like you're stuck with the same abilities. But that being said, it's very liberating to have all the abilities, so it's pretty cool. And the combat was great because there's different weapons. They all felt great. I mean, it's whatever, dude. Like I'm not gonna like go here and like go like just go show all over Andromeda, even though I kind of have. That's kind of like the point of this video, but then like I kind of have to like rein it in so it doesn't like go on for like an hour of me just being like, oh man, oh man, oh man, Craters 2, it's amazing, and just it looks so good, and just like I was playing an anime, and it's just like and just Nier Automata, and you have the sword, and you're cutting up androids, and it's just like the combat, and just like I have to focus, calm it down a bit, like bring it down a notch. I'll be sitting here like for an hour talking about dudes, 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 ladies, ladies, ladies. These 5 games. Oh my god, dude, top 5 games, and just okay, focus, Chris, get it done. Look, we can't just like sit here and talk for 5 hours again about how awesome Mass Effect Andromeda was because we watched it play. Maybe if I got this video up on time, you'd be seeing me go show back games for like an hour or something. But that's who wants to, like anybody want to see that anyway? Anyway, continuing, moving on. We've got Walking Dead: A New Frontier. Like I say, this game took a while to grow on me because it's a slow burn. It's very backloaded because at the front you have a new protagonist that you're playing as, and you're not Clementine. That being said, this game is basically towards the end anyway. It's very much a culmination of all of BioWare's current and past efforts that you can see it just like mothballing into this game because if you go in and play Batman Enemy Within, the first episode, you can already see the like all the elements in this game that they had at the final episode or the final 2 episodes, or specifically the final episode, just because there's like so much stuff going on and like they just bring it all together like masterfully. Like you can see all of that in the first episode of like Enemy Within. So it's like to me. Also, Telltale Guardians. That's on the like honorable mention though, because it just didn't go there. As far as the man, 'cause, like, that's the thing with like Walking Dead. It just goes there, like with like its content and like the way stuff goes down, and you're just like oh, and people die, and then it's like people die. Stuff's going down, high drama. It's the best. I eat it up every time I play the game. Just it's the best. But this one, it's like the issues I had. I mean, you start off with Javier, and like you're playing as Javier, and it's like this isn't Clementine. I wanna be Clementine. What happened to Clementine? But then it's like you have to get over that because it's like to me it's just a personal problem. It's just like I was like F Javier, F these people. I don't care about this new group. Like the whole like the first I'd say 2 or 3 episodes, I was just like for 2 episodes for sure. I was like not into it, not feeling it. And then you do have like these sections where you play as Clementine in the flashback sequences, and so that was cool because the whole time I'm thinking to myself. What happened to Clementine? What happened to Clementine? Where's AJ? What's going on with AJ? And it's like, I don't care about this new group. I want to know about the old group and get some resolutions and answers. Because I've had answers, man. I got burning answers as I've been waiting for this game for a while. And so, which will also happen with Wolf Among Us 2. I'll be like, okay, what's up with this? And then, like, I can't, oh, man. Wolf Among Us 2, final season of Walking Dead this year is going to be amazing. I cannot wait. Just Telltale just bringing it and just like saving the day. Like if you think there's nothing that coming out this year, you're wrong because like those 2 games, top of my list. Just cannot wait. Anyway, back to Walking Dead: New Frontier. So you have so many dynamics going on in this series. So it's pretty cool what they do. Like when you're first introduced as Javier, you're playing, but then you run across Clementine, and so. You basically get to see your NPC that you've made from the last 2 seasons and developed, and then like you intersect and you cross paths, and then it's like oh man, Clementine, hey, this is my Clementine, and like the decisions and choices that she's doing like as you're playing, that's pretty cool. And it's like I mean that being said, there's like one major thing that happens in the first episode I didn't agree with. I was like my Clementine wouldn't do that, but I was like whatever. It's like it's a creative freedom from the developer. They can do their own thing, whatever. But then, like, towards the end when stuff's going down, it's like, yeah, my Clementine would do that. Or you feel like when stuff happens, it's like, yeah, I can see my Clementine doing that. And then, like, towards the end, you see, like, she's, like, basically doing a bunch of stuff that has basically your complete playthrough that far. If you played through all the seasons, it's basically all those choices just, like, affecting all her choices. So it's like you're not directly controlling her, but because of all the choices and things that you've done, even as Javier, which is cool, it all has like an effect on how she perceives the world and how she does things and all that stuff. So that was awesome. And then towards the end, it's like you have basically all the dynamics with all the characters and how you've interacted with them and how they basically either trust you or don't trust you, and that basically has an outcome consequence effect on like on the ending, on how like people are going to go with you or stay with you at the end, on how people perceive you. Like, are you a friend? Are you a foe? Like the whole thing with Jesus, that was great. Is like, you're pretty cool. I might be back sometime or something. That was pretty cool. And then just just random NPCs or like minor NPCs. They're like, do they trust you? Do they not trust you? Do they think you're a threat or not? It's like all the cool stuff. And then just the also some of the choices were just really really good because to me, like in playing The Walking Dead, like I always like I do not kill people in cold blood. I always try to save people if I can, and then it's like I'm always trying to like and like I always I just don't kill people and I'm trying to save people. And then this game completely just like comes through at like a train and just like wrecks this. And it's like there's this one choice in the game where it's like a character tells you he's like point blank. I have some information that I know you want. I will tell you this. And then I'm trying to think. I can't remember, dude. And it's the scene with the doctor where he's like, you see that he's like addicted to all the opioids that he's like been like using to numb his pain because he's just like, it's Walking Dead, so it's like you're just in a post-apocalyptic zombie situation. And he's like, yeah, I don't want to live here anymore. I like live like this anymore or something. And he's like, um, I'll tell you, I'll tell you where AJ's at if you kill me or something. And I was like, oh, well, I need this information. I don't want to kill you. I don't kill ever, but yeah, it's like okay. Well, at that point, I mean, that being said, like the way I like interpreted it playing because I was not Clementine, I was like, well, AJ, I'm sorry, well, Javier is like not Clementine, so therefore he could take one for the team and just like off this dude. And but it's funny, like before then, I wasn't killing anybody, and then after that, it's like I like that in that one moment, like I did like okay, I'm gonna you know euthanize this dude just to get what I need, but then I'll go back to not killing anybody because there plenty of other moments after that where I could have just like started down the path of like the dark side, but I didn't. So it's like so good. It's like it's like I could have kept going in the evil direction, but I didn't. Or not evil, but like just the morally ambiguous, but like totally to like not good side. Um, let's see what else. But yeah, Walking to New Frontier is just like everything Telltale does to me is just amazing. So, and then like that like Walking Dead itself is just like the flagship for them in my opinion. So I'm gonna be sad to see it go since it's the last season this year, but I can't wait to play it. Same thing with Wolf Among Us, man. Well, actually, no. That's the flagship, but it's like after that, there's like it's not like there's no more stories to tell or no more like properties to adapt because we got Wolf Among Us season 2, and then who knows what else? Because Guardian season 1 was pretty good, which I'll get to later. Anyway, that's Walking Dead New Frontier. It was if you play a Telltale game, it's pretty much more of the same, but there's more that's different and better. And basically everything. It's kind of like the Great Rush 2 thing, where it's like they had their game and they stepped it up. And it's like, oh, it's not just, what you've come to expect. Especially when you get to the end and stuff is going down. It's like, oh man, like it feels kind of weird because the choices consequence thing is like not you're not always gonna feel that stuff, but then they've done something, especially at the very end, where you will like you will be like thinking about these choices and like not wanting to just be like whatever man on the choices because the way they affect everything, and also the way that they did the end credits at the end, and like how it showed like every character and how kind of this it kind of did this in Guardians too as well. Like if you finished it, it goes like through the very end and like has all the characters and your choices and how it affected everything and how everybody's perspective is like on you or what you've done has like done to them. It's pretty cool. It's like yeah, it's like it's like a web of like psychological trauma and like you playing the game and then like how it affects all the NPCs and all like the characters in the world and just like yeah, your 5 episodes of Telltale game and like get the psychological trauma that you went through and how it all came out in a magical cake that you put in that oven and like what does that cake look like when it's done or what's left of it because stuff goes down in those games. Anyway, that was a weird analogy. Moving on to my most favorite game of last year, Horizon Zero Dawn, which is the last game of the top 5 games. And man, I gotta say, Gorilla did an amazing knockout job. This game was just like, just where to begin? Where to begin? I didn't think it would be as long as it was. I thought it was just gonna be like some open world, like A to Z. Not even like open world. I thought it would just be like some A to Z, like story mode, linear. Like you're just going through the world, and it's ended, and it's blah 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 blah. Robot dinosaurs, blah 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 blah. The future, blah 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 blah. What's happened? How did society collapse? But dude, that is just scratching the surface. This game, oh my goodness. So it's like, you've got the open world, but it's like massive, and it spans like, I'm gonna say like an entire okay, not a continent, but like a country. You'll know what country you're in as you play the game, which is another cool thing of like, you start to find out, oh, this is where I'm at. Oh, that's what went down. And like, to me, it's like, dude, there's like layers of Horizon, dude. There's like the game layer where it's like you're just an open world. You're like you got your bow and arrow, you got your spear, and you're like primitive. Not I mean not like all the way primitive because it's like made of metal, but whatever. But like they might as well be because like bow and arrow, spear, and like no guns, and like you're just going through the world, and there's these crazy machine robot dinosaur things that can just like track you and like I mean if you I mean just like thinking about it in like in terms of if we made killer robots today, you might have a fighting chance. In Horizon Zero Dawn, they're killer robots, and it's kind of like I don't feel like I have a fighting chance because I'm not using guns against them. But Ayla is like such an awesome, fighter and character, and it's just like with the arrows, or just like with the spear, or like when you're just sneaking around in the tall grass, like waiting for something to come by, and just like stab, stab, stab. It's just like that's great. Yeah, the stealth, all that. Okay, I think that was like the other thing. It's like there's like so many like secret sauce, like juice, like sprinkled into this game. I was like, I didn't know that was gonna be in there, and it's in there, and it's like amazing. Like the stealth mechanics, which is like because I love stealth games. So it's like to me, having like the tall grass stuff, where like you can just hide in tall grass, stealth the crap out of stuff, and like just instant kill stuff, and just like so good, or just take down stuff. That's great. And then like the layer and just like the story and campaign and scenario, dude, was just like I can't talk in detail because I'm not gonna spoil it, but it was so good. It was just like the most refreshing thing I'd played in such a long time to like get a story like that and be like, you know what, that was effing deep. And then I mean, I think the thing was like it was like a mirror. It was like a parallel of like the time we live in, because like it is such a dark timeline, like or like it's just like a dark time in general, like that we live in. It's like we have all this technology around us, and like what could go wrong? What could go wrong? And then just like opening Pandora's box of like, well, this could happen, and it's just like just that was just man. I was like, Horizon Zero Dawn. I haven't played a game where it's like, I don't think we should use technology anymore. But I played this game and I was like, we should not use technology anymore, or like we should just like stop. We could just be like, you know what? We've kind of like reached the peak, the pinnacle, the zenith. Let's not keep going and just like go over a cliff and then just like collapse our society and then be like, oh, whoopsie, what did we do? And then that was like I'm not gonna talk about the story where it happens, but man, just it was the best. It was the best. That's why I can't stop gushing about it. It's just, man, the discoveries you make and just investigating things, and then just the way that game just did the things it did, just so good. And then when the Frozen Wilds came out DLC, it's like, oh, you thought you had the whole picture? Well, this is just a sliver because there's more things out there, like that thing that you had conflict with, and they're still waiting for you. And it's like, man, I hope the series continues. And then, I have so many hopes and dreams for this game. It's like I like also from like the audio logs and like the video logs, well, they're not video logs. There's like audio logs and text logs, but there's like so many cool moments where it's like because gorillas like they make Killzone, and like you have like this whole arc of this like one of these military teams that's like trying to basically just like hold stuff off, but it's like they know they're in a losing effort, but they're trying to like still do their job and like make time for stuff for characters to like do their thing to like save the day or turn the tide around. And so it's like it's like in my brain I was like, what would be cool is like if they like went in. I mean, I guess they don't have to, but it would be cool. It wouldn't bother me if they didn't, but whatever. If they like went in and like they made like a first person game or first person shooter. It didn't even have to be a first person shooter. It could be like Horizon, whatever. Anyway, they make a game to just like show like that perspective of the story when like stuff is going down and like it's just looking bad, man. It's just I guess it's the other thing is like it was very dark. It was just like, but then it's like or you just like get glimpses of the. I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. It's like you get glimpses into the. I mean, in Horizon, you're still in the future, so therefore, like you're looking at the past, but it's like but you're looking at society at its peak, and then like it collapses, and so all the characters in that game, because of the way that that story was done, is like they have no real knowledge of the past. They only know, the robot dinosaur post-apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic because yeah, or the second apocalypse essentially because the first one would have been when like all the society like just like burned to the ground, and then like okay, it's not the second one, but essentially like you have that one that burns down, and then you're alive again, but then you're still in crisis with robot dinosaurs, so it's like a post apocalypse, which is pretty cool. Anyway, and so like to hear and see the characters in the world just like in passing always talk about like the like I guess the third thing is like it's a contemporary modern tell, and so you can like relate to it because all the characters and like all the things that they're like saying or talking about is like things you could like relate to or imagine, and so because and like you see to see it from their perspective, it's like when they say the old ones, it's like they're talking about us because I mean they aren't necessarily because you look at the timeline in the game, it's still like a bit off in the future, but still, it's like it might as well be. And then that's just like cool to like the way they did that, and then that like what happened to them. So it's like, oh, the old ones are so wise and blah blah blah, but what happened to them in their cities and blah blah blah, and or their ways and what happened, and then like I think that's like just really cool, like to have like it feels very like a folklorish tale of like myth or something of they just sit around and think about like what happened to all the the old ones in the previous times, and they like have artifacts from the now time or the modern time, but they're in the future. So but they wouldn't know they're in the future. That's the other thing. So like because they're very. I think that's the other cool thing I just really enjoyed about Horizon was like the primitive nature of the society, but it was like it was just like it was like primitive, but it was kind of like something from a JRPG, really, because you had like they're just very tribalistic, but they have like all this technology around them, and so it had a very like just so many cool like dynamics because of that. So you have like all these like characters that have like little bits of metal and stuff in their little like costumes or headdresses that they wear, and it's just like I just really enjoyed the whole aesthetic of that game, and just yeah, it was great. It was just amazing. And then I already talked about the gameplay a bit, like the combat, blah blah, open world, blah blah. It's great. Story, characters, it's a great. There's some dialogue wheels, but it doesn't seem like it really affects anything. But that's whatever, dude. It's whatever. It's just and then like all the different robot dinosaurs you fight, like they're all different, and they're all the first time you encounter them, you're like, what do I do? And then as you get like more and more um adept or what's the word competent in your robot dinosaur fighting skills, and you feel like you can take on anything. So like it does that thing where like you're going along and you've seen like the same enemy types over and over and over, and it throws something new at you. It's like it then starts doing that. It starts like throwing something new at you a bit every often, and you're like, oh, what's this thing? Oh, how do I tackle this thing, or how do I go up against this thing? Oh. But yeah, and then like also it's an amazing looking game. Like there's like when you're in the desert area and like you're looking like one, I can't remember which direction, But like when it's either like when the moon is coming up or the sun's going down, or probably both. But it just gives like the best like um sunrise and sunset effects I've ever seen in my life in a game, and it just looks amazing. It's just like like there's so many parts in that game where it just looks amazing. And that's the other thing is like the real time day night thing like really helps that game. It just because the whole like, because to me I would never fast travel in that game. I would always just like go from point A to Z, either with my little robot horse once I got one, or I just like do it on foot. And it just felt like like an epic trek of like an awesome adventure, just like all over the place, being Aloy, doing all those cool things. Ah man, just ah. And then like that's your thing is like because there is like a post credit scene as far as like there's more to the story. It's like I'm on the hook now. I was like I want more. Like I really want more, and it's just like it hit the spot. It was really great, and just man, Horizon effing Zero Dawn just easily, in my opinion, the best game of last year. Just so good. I mean, I was talking like a lot of vagaries and like whatever about the story, because I'm not going to go into it, but it's really good. Like you need to play this game. Um, and the gameplay is like aces, so it's like yeah, there's that. And then the theme on the main game before you start it up, and it's like doing that like the whole Horizon theme. That was great. And then like it's got some other good music, but like the theme is the best. And it's just like it's stuck in my head, and like forever be stuck in my head. And I'm just like, well, think about Horizon whenever I think about that theme. Um, but yeah, man, just it was great, great characters, great story, fun times, and it blew me away because when they were showing it at E3 and all the other times, it's like you're fighting this robot dinosaur and stuff, blah blah blah, and I was like, okay, whatever. I thought it was just like vertical slices of like stages. I didn't know it was like a completely open world of just like. I think that's what everything is. Like my expectations were just like kablamoed, like laser beamed to smithereens after I played it, because I was like, oh, this is not the game I thought it was, and it just got better and better, and it has RPG elements. I mean, I guess like to put it in like a very basic way, is like it just like iterates very masterfully on like what Red Dead did and what Far Cry 3 did, where it's like you're in an open world and you have RPG elements, and then you also have like collectibles, and like you have character or like you have enemy types in the world that you can like go and hunt and harvest. So kind of like in Red Dead, where it's like you can get like do certain things to get or not Red Dead, but like Far Cry 3. I mean, Red Dead did it first, but I think Far Cry 3 did it better. I can't remember which came out first. Anyway, it was probably Red Dead and then Far Cry 3. Anyway, but like in Far Cry 3, where it's like you have all the little animals you can go and hunt, and then like get their pouches, or not get their pouches, but like you can craft them into like pouches to carry more ammo, blah blah blah. It does all that stuff. So it's like it takes the best in my that's my opinion. Like I think those two games like Red Dead and Far Cry just basically do open world the best. And like takes from them, and then I mean, as far as like having RPG mechanics in them, because GTA is like awesome, but it doesn't have any of that stuff. It doesn't have any of like you can carry more ammo if you do this thing, 'cause it's a modern setting, so you don't need to like you can just buy a gun and a bunch of ammo. You don't need to go and go and chop down trees to make a giant ammo box or something. Anyway, but that's what it does. It's like go in the world, do these things, hunt these things, harvest these things, and you can get more things to carry more things. I'm sorry. You can get more things to carry more ammo, or whatever it is, more items for whatever ammo you're using. Yeah, I use thingies and stuff a lot to talk about stuff, so it's like I kind of mess up when I do that, because it could be more detailed. Anyway, as I see like the time, we're almost at like 40 minutes. I'm sorry, not sorry. So yeah, keep going, Chris. But it does that thing where basically you're going through the world, and like as you're progressing, you can keep making your character more awesome and more powerful. You just have to put some time in, and then like as you do that though, you get so proficient in learning all like the dynamics of like the gameplay that you get it all dialed in. And then as you're going through, like and like the game just throws more and more creatures and monsters at you, like all the and then eventually you have the ones that are can't remember, they're like tainted or something with the I can't remember, dude. It's like there's like this. There's like every monster type. They're corrupted. The corrupted ones. There you go. It's like the corrupted ones that are even more aggressive, and like until you get the I don't think there's anything that no, you have to like take them out to like do something. But yeah, there's like there's that. And okay, it does like the best It the best ever in a game, open world ever. Thing like in Assassin's Creed where you climb the towers and like you go to the eagle's nest and like it sees like the entire map and it opens more of the map and that's how you get more of the map. This game does the best ever so far until something else comes along that it's a better thing to do that to where you have like the tall necks that are just like massive and just such a cool effect and you have to climb up them and like each one is different. I mean it's not that hard but it's like it's just cool that like each little like climbing route on top of them or like where you got to jump onto them from is different and then once you get on top of them you like it has like the coolest cinematic moment when you plunge in your stuff and you activate it and then it just goes like and there's like you see the world and it's just so good. It's just it's mesmerizing every time. Every time it never got old. That's like their thing. It's like and I think that's the other thing. It's like in this game. It's like it's open world and like you do kind of do the same things over and over and over and over again. It has like the magical thing. It doesn't get old. It's just you do the same things. But like that to me that's like the tried and true like how you know a game is really good or just amazing is like you're doing the same thing over and over and over but it doesn't get to you as far as like if you're never thinking about it in the moment like when you're playing or like as long as there's enough story like in between game like it's a very hard push and pull there to like have like story game and just like keep the story going keep you playing and then like not have you be like not engaged or be like turning my brain off and be like this is getting old I'm not going to do this I'm going to do something else blah, blah, blah. I mean maybe for me not so much because my dopamine in my brain is probably like wired for these things which is like why I'm so addicted to Monster Hunter World right now but yeah to me that is like the true test of like if a game is like amazing and like you know one of the true greats, and it is one of the true greats. And so is Monster Hunter World. I came to that realization this morning when I woke up and I like because like all I can think about like I can't stop thinking about Monster Hunter World. I mean not to get into that Monster Hunter World, but like I'll make a separate video of Monster Hunter World because like whew, that game, whew, man, Monster Hunter World. I gotta say, whew, 2018 is on the list. It's already made the list. Monster Hunter World. So yeah. But back to Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah, there's not enough I can say about this game. Like across the board, up and down, left to right, all over the place. It does all the things. And I mean, there's stuff I can't really talk about because I don't want to spoil it. But there's a lot in there. And then like once you see what's all in there, it's just like wow. And then and then like yeah. And then I felt so like in my heart when I got to the end, just like they do something really cool and it touched me and I was like, oh, Horizon Zero Dawn, you're like, yeah, you don't even know, just you're now one of the all-time greats. Like I talked about this before, like one of my China Tekken's how like the top 5 thing is like you know I've like my favorite games. I don't have like one. I just like break them down in like to top 5s, and I've made like there's probably like 3, so I have like a top 15 right now. Anyway, it made the list. It's effing in there, man. It's like. It just like shot to the top. Okay, not to the top. It's not better than Super Mario Galaxy, but it, it could be. I mean, on any given day, if I argue with myself enough, they all could be. That's why it's like not the top 1 list. It's the top. I'm sorry, it's not a top. It's like you know, it's not numbered. It's like they're all the best. They're kind of like they all do their own thing, and like that makes them amazing. And Horizon Zero Dawn, oh my gosh, okay. I'm gonna stop now because I don't know how long I went on about Horizon Zero Dawn. But that game's effing amazing. You need to play it if you haven't played it. So, check it out. Whew, man. Also, it made me happy at PlayStation Experience when you had, I can't remember, Sid Schumann and, I can't, what's the dude's name? Wow, I'm blanking on the dude's name. But that guy, it's not Andrew House. It's the new guy. Sean Layden, that guy. And how they had, like, the whole focus on single-player experiences. Like, that whole, like, exchange basically just like cemented me and like not I mean I already wasn't gonna get an Xbox One but it's like I'm thinking about getting a Switch. It's like I'll get one eventually but it's like I know I can just like wait it out until there's a price drop because I still get like that's all they had to say was like we are going to focus on first person experiences. I'm sorry not first person experience no single player experiences. And I was just like, okay, I'm set for life then. Or at least until these dudes are like not in power at the company, I'm good. Anyway, moving right along. So that's the top 5. So we got Gravity Rush 2, Nier Automata, Mass Effect Andromeda, The Walking Dead: New Frontier, and Horizon Zero Dawn. Not in any particular order. And then I got some honorable mentions. Hellblade: Senua Sacrifice. This game, okay, so Ninja Theory, they do really good action games. DMC, they did a, I can't remember. It was basically an adaptation of the Journey West with Goku, but I can't remember the name right now. I'm blanking on it. I didn't play. I haven't played it. Everybody says it's amazing. I bought it. It's whatever. Anyway, they made this game, Hellblade: Senua Sacrifice. I don't think it was published by anyone because it's indie, or I can't remember how it works. Indies or whatever. It's basically like a AAA indie game, and they basically just had like a big budget, but their creative vision wasn't influenced by publishers to be like, oh, well you've got to do this and put microtransactions in and blah 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 blah, DLC seasons and pass blah 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 blah. And then I played it, and it was effing awesome. I mean, okay. The cool thing to me about this game is that it's all about like the Norse mythology. I mean, there's two things about this. Norse mythology, which I do not know a lot about, and then B, the whole like schizophrenia, crazy person that you're playing as, or just mental illness. What the f? Like, there's a lot of weirdness in this game. Okay, no, okay, that sounded bad. That's not what I meant to say. But like like from their perspective, you could like see what someone like going through these what's the word here? These condition, like this condition, like someone like with a condition like this, like what they're going through. So you see it from their perspective, and so you can like empathize of like how hard it is, because like the entire time there's a voice in your head, and that's kind of weird. I mean, I think to myself like a lot of time at the time, but like not as much as this person. I was like, wow, this is intense. And then the combat, man, effing just magical. It's like I guess like at some point in the development they changed it, and because I thought like at some point it's gonna be like all 1v1 fights, but then it basically changed, but it's good. It's good. I'm not gonna like it's really hard to describe, but it's very like up in your face. Just like you have basic attacks, you have blocks, you have some other stuff. You have like a very small toolbox, but it magically works like every time to like just to feel so good, and like the boss fights are just like so intense. It's just like, oh, it's really good game. It's a really good game. Like just the whole, and it looks amazing. It plays amazing. The story was awesome because I'm not familiar with like Norse mythology at all, and like they have this whole theory going. And okay, I'm not gonna talk about it too much because I could spoil it. But man, it's really cool what they do, and it leaves it on the hook for a sequel. And it's like, oh man, I hope they continue because that was intense and awesome, and I would definitely play it again or play the next entry in the series. But there's like this one environment specifically. I'm not sure if you're in hell or you go to hell. It's not hell. It might be hell. Whatever. You're there. There's a bunch of like dead bodies and corpses and crap. It's intense. It looks amazing. It looks like very disturbing at the same time. I was like, I couldn't stop like admiring it. Like I was like both admiring it and like being disgusted at the same time because it looks so good. And I was like, ew, it's like a bunch of dead bodies and crap. And I was like, it kind of like fits where I'm at because I'm kind of in the underworld, and it's creeping me out a bit. And it's a bunch of like rivers of blood and stuff. It's like, whoa, this is pretty crazy. The visual imagery I'm getting here is like overloading my brain. It's like, okay, I get it, Ninja Theory. I get what you're trying to do, but like, yeah, you kind of like pour too much in the bowl there. But I respect your creative vision on what you're doing here. Um, but yeah, that was Hellblade. It had some pretty intense music too, for, like to match the fights with like a lot of like the chanting of like. Okay, I don't want to call it like a Viking chant, but it sounded like very what's that? What's that one Skyrim? Yeah, like the Skyrim Dragonborn, like the I can't remember what it says, but yeah, that I haven't played that game, but whatever. You know what I'm talking about, like the whole something something, and like the music kicks in, it's all like dun 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 dun, but it's like different types of that. It was like that, but like a different. It's very like haunting, chanting music. It was interesting. It was neat. I liked it. It was different. But yeah, you should definitely check that game out. It was like $30 I think when it first came out. It's probably cheaper now, but that was the other thing about it. Is like they also like made like a AAA game, but it wasn't priced at like a AAA price because they wanted to sell copies. And I bought it day one, and I got stuck. But then I ended up getting past what I was stuck at, and I very much. Oh, also it had like a cool mechanic as far as permadeath. So there's like you can die a certain amount of times, but then after a certain amount of times, but you have to die like a lot. I guess I don't know how many exactly, but I enjoyed it. The way they explained it in game makes sense too. So I thought that was cool to like take a chance as far as like like all the things that they did with like their creative freedom and creative vision, and they delivered on, and like because they weren't held back by a publisher that's like, oh, you can't put this in your game, oh, this is gonna alienate these type of people, it's like too hard, blah blah blah. Like I think that's the very thing. I think it's like why it's on here. It's just like they took a chance. They're like f the hate or not f the haters, f the fat cats, f the 1%, f the publishers. We're gonna do what we want, put out our creative vision of what we want the game to be, and this is what we're gonna get. You also have some like really cool sequences with the Senua when she's just like talking, but then it's all in like not English, so I had subtitles on the whole time. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. There is some English, but I had like subtitles on the whole time, and it's really intense, and like I kind of like had to read it because it's just like all up in her face, and like her face model looks really good, and just yeah, it's like weird. If you're playing as Golem, I would guess it's like another analogy I'd make, like but Golem, but like who's not a good Golem, not a bad Golem, because she's talking all the time to herself, and she says voices all the time in her head, and sees things. It's intense. It's like, oh, that's what that's like if you're having that type of disorder or what have you. But yeah, Senua Sacrifice definitely on the whatchamacallit, honorable mention list for last year for sure. And then the last game on the honorable mention list is Uncharted Lost Legacy. It's a good game, but it's not, it. Okay, I'm not gonna say like I snubbed it. I'm just saying like Uncharted 4 was basically, and then Uncharted Lost Legacy is still pretty good. It's just not to have a very basic visual analogy of like why, because it basically does all the things. Like it doesn't all do all the things. It kind of touches bases, but it doesn't have the nice moment. Okay, hold on, not moment, but like all the scenes in Uncharted 4 that are kind of like there, that are, it seems very superfluous at the time. We're just like, why is this even here? Why are we playing as the Drake brothers and nothing happens? They're just talking, blah blah blah. I mean, it has that, but it doesn't have it to the point of it's like as long as Uncharted 4 was. So it was a very like how expansion should be in my opinion, because it was basically just like a dollar menu of that game. So it's like you get all the things in that game. Like you have the open world thing, you have all the exploration, you have all the combat, you have the epic action sequences. Just like it's just so good, and just man, I wanted to keep going. I wanted to last longer, and it's like I ate it, and I was like, man, that was amazing. I was like, oh, at the end, no. That being said, it kind of laid the groundwork for you can have an Uncharted game without Drake, and I was like, Naughty Dog, you're geniuses. This is like you just like took your secret sauce and just like spilled it all over the floor, and then all like there's so many different possibilities now. It's like you had, okay, I'm not gonna say there's a certain character that makes an appearance here, and like you're like, wow, they're in this too, and like, but then it's like Nathan Drake doesn't show up. Let's see, Chloe's there, and so is whatchamacallit, the other lady, and then and then but Elena, yeah, like there's no Drake, there's no Elena, and so it's just like without them. But then I don't think, does Sully show up? I don't think Sully shows up either. So it's like you got like the three main characters from the first game completely absent, and then you've got other characters that have been in the games that are there, and they're like, and like it's enough to carry that game through. Like you like those characters can carry that game, and it was great writing and great dialogue, and just it's like it hits all the marks. And I think that's the other thing, is like it's a safe bet to like put it on the list, and I didn't want to, because it's like it's more Uncharted. Like I fall in love with Uncharted, so it's kind of like it's it doesn't hurt me to like not give it this, because Uncharted 4 is just so amazing, and then so like easily Uncharted 4 easily earns that spot. So to like say this is like an honorable mention, it's just like if you enjoyed Uncharted 4, just play this, because it's basically more of the same. And then it has like like if you like the Uncharted 2 change sequence, and you like see it be done in Uncharted 4 amazing graphicness, then play this game, because there's such a cool change sequence at the end, and it just hits the mark. And that's the other thing, is like you get stuff about Chloe to where it's like she's not that bad, like she's actually a good person. That was me. That's another thing about this one, is like the redeeming factors of Chloe Fraser, man. Like she earned her stripes in this one, because I was like, Is she trustworthy? Is she just a thief? Is she just in it for the money? And then going through this, it's like, but there's more to her. There's a lot more to her, and it's like, man, Chloe, you're on my list now, like favorite characters, because that's cool. She knows all this stuff about Indian culture and like all these myths, and like when you get to the puzzle, she's like, oh well, it's the this mythical creature that has this thing, and then that's why, and this is the story, and it's like, oh, this is cool. This is like learning things about mythical Indian folklore that I did not know before. I mean, I kind of forgot it all because I haven't played in like a year, and it's something about a tusk, and I don't remember really, but yeah, all that stuff. And the villain was pretty cool because he's a dude that basically wears glasses to like not seem evil, which was like a really interesting concept. I was like, huh, hadn't thought about that before. That's pretty cool. I just like the fact that he's like an arms dealer trying to like make money, and then like about to do something very terrible with the weapons of mass destruction. And that I mean that to me, like there's something really cool that happens at the end. Is like it's big, like basically you have like a level of this. There's something very dangerous that could happen. I don't need to save the day. I could just walk away. I could just walk away with all the money and be happy and live the rest of my life not caring about what's about to happen and go down. And then Clay's like, no, I can't. I gotta go in and we gotta save the day, guys. And it's like she gives this great speech. I mean, not speech, but like she has like some great lines about like, I can't just like let this go. Like I can't just, walk away from this. People are gonna suffer. People are gonna die. I gotta save the day. It's like, oh, that's cool. Like I think in that moment. I mean, not in that moment, but like it's like across the entire thing. And then you get to the end and like you don't see Drake, and it's like, wow, they could really do like a deep dive on all these characters in the Uncharted series, and just like have them have like their own adventures. Like they don't have to have like Nathan Drake every time. And that being said, they get to the point where it's like maybe they could do something like I mean not something like, but on the level of GTA 5, where it's essentially like an ensemble cast, and you just like switch characters constantly, and you just have like all of them, and it's just like I mean that being said. I do prefer games when like they stick to like a main protagonist and you just like see something through their perspective. It's not just like completely scatterbrained all over the place. That's kind of like why I lost interest in Call of Duty campaigns. Is like when they started switching characters all the time. It's like it just kills me sometimes. But I think Naughty Dog could do because it's like they got the magical writing magic over there, and just I can't. Yeah, if that was the thing. That'd be great. Or essentially just like think of it as like a Fast and the Furious movie, but with Uncharted characters, but not about stealing cars or heists or saving the world. Okay, maybe some of those things, not all those things. Like the car thing, like I mean without the cars essentially. So it's Uncharted, but like Fast and the Furious edition without the cars, or maybe with the cars because that'd be cool, but completely off theme. But whatever. Anyway, that's it for my top 5 games of the year. I've been rambling on here for an hour. I really hope the audio worked because I did like a quick audio test on this video and it seemed like it was working. And I've been having to use OBS to like make these, so it's kind of annoying when I try to like make this with my Logitech camera and I use the Logitech software and it doesn't work. Thanks Logitech, thanks. But yeah, that's that. I think I have like another short video going up after this, but probably before this because this will take a while to upload. And I've got some like a poll on my channel now for the month of March. I'm gonna be like, hey, subscribers, you're awesome. Thanks for subscribing, and celebrate. I'm picking one of my top series of games that you want to see me play through. So go over to that. It's in the community tab. There's a poll up. I don't have anything else in that tab, so it's like it should be the only thing there. And it's got like Mass Effect, Batman Arkham, Pac-Man. There might be a fourth option. I'm not sure, but yeah, go over there and vote on that. I'll put up a I'm in love with Monster Hunter video probably tomorrow. I'm just gonna like do it off the cuff like always because that game, man, it is on the list for next year for sure. 2018 games top 5 Monster Hunter World has made the list. But yeah, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Those are my top 5 games of the year. What do you think are your top 5 games of the year? Feel free to write them in the comments or not. Whatever, that's cool too. And until you hear from me again. Thanks for watching, and I'm now signing off.